sometimes and how to disperse it to your members. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the PIC ticket. We're going to go ahead and do the inventory transaction history report and the AR statement today. So when we're doing that, I've gone ahead, and one of the hardest things to do is to try to figure out what those forms are. And 99% of the time, what you're going to do is that you're going to be able to see, like at the end of the report, what the form name is, or you got to be kind of like a little bit of a detective and go through and, especially if it's a form, like for the PIC ticket, it's going to be the McCullough, and then OE. This is the booking report. This is, can you see right here, this is the acknowledgement. So you just go through, and this is, and I found all of these reports, okay, under my C drive, which is located on your local drive, under Program Files, Exact Software Report, okay?
So would that be the same if we're running it on a SQL server, though? We all log into the server. So would our data be on the server side or on our local machine?
They're saved on your local machine, and what I've done, I'm on the server right now. But what you always do, they're always saved on your own C drive. That's why you always move those over to the user's own C drive. So when you're testing, you always want to test it on your local drive first, okay? And then in this instance, I'm just logged onto the server where I would save it. But all the reports are always saved under this. Now, one of the things that I always do, all right, is that I have a modified, I save all my reports under modified ES reports. Always, always, always. And the reason that I save them under here is so that I can go ahead and I can, when I'm ready to disperse them to all of the team members, I just copy this information that's in the modified ES reports, and I just copy it over. So if I was to make a change on this one, and I'm just going to go ahead and highlight this one right now and copy, then I would go ahead and take that report and move it over to my C drive, Program Files. Some of you would have Programs 86, okay, Exact Software, RPT, and then go ahead and paste. Whoops, or save. And it's going to tell you, you know, copy and replace. Oh, we've got it. Canceling that right there. All right. So that's how you would go ahead and copy it over. So you always make sure that you bring it over from
your personal file.
Right, your personal file. Okay? So the first one, since I went ahead and I brought over one of the first ones, let's go ahead. I'm going to open up, and I've got it in, and I always copy it. Always, always, always under modified. Okay, I'll take these files and I'll copy them right over to testing. So this way I've got a backup. So if something goes wrong, if I delete something by accident or it doesn't like a certain format or something, I can go ahead and copy it back over. All right, so the first one that I'm going to open up right now is the PIC form. So, and it's always going to tell you, now this is pretty ugly. This is a pretty ugly form. There's no logo. There's no, I mean, if I go ahead and I print out this form, there's not much to it as far as being able to look at, you know, your address isn't showing up here, anything else. And these files right here, I want you to, can you see my database list?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to, all right, that database list, I'm going to just move it over so you can, all right, this file right here, the OE PIC ticket view, this is a file that McCullough has put together to quickly grab certain data so that they don't have to go back and forth to read like all the shipping addresses and such. So just to let you know, this is how, you're going to see some of these views that are created when these forms are compiled. So if you try to write a report and try to find OE pick ticket view, you're not going to find it, okay? It's created as it's needed. All right. If you want it now, the information that is pulled from this, if you wanted to write your own report, would be the OE order header and the OE order line. Just to let you know, those are the two files that compile this view. And all they've done is just compiled it together. The one thing that it doesn't have, okay, is if you had a customer item number if you wanted to print it. All right, so let's just look at some of these fields, all right? And I'm going to go ahead and I've made a change already to mine. Let me open up Exact. And I'm going to go over to Pick Ticket, all right, so that we can go ahead, and I'm just pulling up a Pick Ticket. Oh, nice. I'm just going to say, that unpicked only will always get you. All right, so here's our Pick Ticket form. Pretty darn ugly, okay? All right, so what we can do on this one is that we can put our logo on it, all right, or we can move some of these fields around. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you how to, and I've got a logo right here. I'm just going to copy it from one form and bring it into the other. So now I've gone ahead and I've got Red Deer. And let's say right here I want you to see right here where we've got, it says report title. Report title is pulled from, you go to File and you go to Summary Information. It will go ahead. Do you see where it says title right there? You can change the title to this report right there. All right? I'm not going to change it for right now, okay? But if you wanted to go ahead and put, if you look at that form, we've got some gray highlights on there. It's under silver, and this is how we format that. You don't see it right there, but if you format the field, and all I'm doing is right-clicking. I'm going in here, and I'm just saying Format Field. And I can change the border, all right, and I can also change the background. And in this instance, I'm going to do silver. And I'm going to wipe out the color combination that they had. Now you're going to see the color there. Because they put it in a different format, that's why you're not seeing the difference. But that's in silver now, if you printed it in silver. All right, what if you wanted to have how many pages? I mean, some of your pick tickets, all I'm doing is highlighting and deleting with my delete key. That's it, all right? There is a function down here under Special Fields that says page 1 of 1 or 1 of 10 or whatever. And it's really nice, especially if you've got someone out on the floor, and you have multiple line items and multiple pages. One of my customers has, 5, 6, 7 pages at a time of items that they have to pick. And they always want to make sure they've got, that the guys don't forget one of the pages. So we made sure that we put the page right there. All right. So I'm going to move the page up, and all I'm doing is I'm just grabbing it and then bringing it up. So I'm going to save this, and all I'm doing is I can either do File, Save As, or I can just hit the file right there. And here I'm going to say File, Save As, and I'm going to copy it to my C drive so that, I'm going to copy it to my C drive under my program files so that we can see what changes that we've made. And one of the things that you always want to do is test this form as you're going through. So I'm going to go ahead and change this now. I'm going to print my pick ticket again. And now I've got my page up here and I've got my logo. Pretty simple stuff. Are you guys all familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do one of the things that drives me crazy is all of these text fields that Macola does. And if you notice on the pick ticket, it's up or lower on some of these, and that will drive some of the customers absolutely crazy. So for some reason, if you go into what they call these text fields, and you can edit the formula, and what I normally do is I just take that term string out, and that way it just prints ship via with it capitalized. So that's one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts. Why are these things upper and lower? You look at it, it looks fine, but as soon as you go ahead and print it, it's still not correct. When you're going ahead and changing also the quantity, many of my customers don't want decimals. So if you go ahead and you just go down and notice that we're now in the details. We've got different formats here. We've got a report header. We've got our page headers that will print on every page. Then we've got our groupings. All right, and when you want to see how a report is grouped, you go under Report, under Group Expert, and this is how they go ahead and pull the report. So it's by the order number, and then by the line sequence number, and then by the picking sequence. You'll find that some people will go ahead and, if you have picking sequence as an item, as part of your setup, it will go ahead and put it in that picking sequence. All right, so right here under quantity ordered, if I want that right now, okay, it's showing decimal, okay? If I don't want that, then all you do is you go to the quantity ordered, right-click, format the file, and then customize. Now, you'll notice right here that there is a formula. Whenever you see a red right here, that's going ahead and saying there's a condition. And this is how you've got the number of decimals set up for your system. So if you want decimals for some but not for other, you just wipe out this information. And you go ahead and say, I only want, I want whole numbers rounding to 1. And again, we just wipe out that information. All right, and say OK. I'm going to save this again. All right, and this time if you save as, all right, it's saved right in my report folder. I print my pick ticket again. All right, now I've got whole numbers. My ship via is now in upper and lower case. All right. One other quick thing. If you want to go ahead and add, let's say you wanted to go ahead and add something here, such as the, we've got shipping, all right, and the whole bit. Notice that we've got an OE pick view, but we can go ahead and we can add another field, and we're going right into a quick sub-report, okay, guys? So if we wanted to add, let's say, the telephone number, the main contact telephone number on the pick ticket, okay, just so that maybe you guys call your customer when it's ready or however you want it, but I'm just saying what if, okay? What you can go ahead and do, all right, is let's say right here under database, under insert, all right, you're going to go to sub-report, all right, and you're going to create a new report, and you're going to call this customer phone number. And it helps if you can never type correctly when you've got people watching you, right? So, all right, that's all I'm going to call it. And I'm going to go into my report wizard, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull, oh, shoot. I don't think he's got it set up for me. I apologize. I thought this was all set up for us to be able to get in. Nope. I had it yesterday. I apologize. I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. I'll send you a link. I'll go ahead and I'll do screen prints on how to do that. But we need to have our database set up, and I don't have rights to that yet. All right. One other thing. Oh, let's go ahead and say you wanted to see a total right here, quantity ordered. Let's say you wanted to tell your people the total amount of items that were going to be in the order. You can go ahead and do a right-click here. All right, here's quantity ordered, and you can insert a summary. Does that make sense? All right, and we can go ahead and we can put this at the end of the order. So it's going to go right here under the group footer, total quantity ordered. And it's in bold. Do you notice right here it's in bold? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put insert text. And right here on the pick ticket, all I'm doing is I'm putting in a text field that says total quantity ordered.
All right.
Is everybody familiar with putting in text fields? Okay. So I've got total quantity ordered, and in this instance, I want to format this field to go ahead and I want to customize it. I want it as a whole number. All right. I'm going to save it. And here's my total quantity ordered. Now, true, I don't have it in the right order. I'm just showing you how you can go ahead and add it. And notice right here, it's showing all line items picked. It's going ahead and saying, so the guys could go ahead and say, yes, everything's been picked if they wanted to. what you can do with this, and this is a cool feature, under the group right here, this is going to print as soon as this grouping is done. It's not down at the page or anything like that. All right, this is group footer. If you notice right here, I can move this down because on this print pick ticket, if you notice, this is printing at the bottom of the form, not up at the top. So, or I should say in the middle. So I'm just going to move this down here, total quantity ordered. All right, I'm going to leave all, and let's say I don't want to have all line items picked. I want something else to be in there. You can go ahead and right here on your group footer, under your section, right here for my first, because this is 1A, I can go ahead and I can suppress. I don't want to print that. I don't want to say for all items picked. Now do you see there's a format different? This is suppressing. This is suppressing the entire format. I'm going to save again, print pick tickets. So now it doesn't say total quantity ordered 20, here's miscellaneous, freight charges, and there's no, you could have just somebody, have initials or whatever else you wanted in there. All right. So that's making a change just on a pick ticket. One of the things that I like to do, and noting what I did, is that I go into summary information and I put what my comment is right here. So I don't care about the author. I don't care about, that doesn't mean anything. So I'll say changed on 1/15/15, okay, and why I changed it. All right. Changes to format. I'll just leave it like that. Okay? And now if you're making multiple changes, one of my customers has asked that when we make a change, we put that author right down here at the bottom so everybody knows that they've got the latest and greatest. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just moving my total quantity over. Right here, do you see where it's right at the very bottom here is report footer. I'm going to open up that field, okay? So under report footer, okay, section expert, I go down to where it has the report footer page right there. I'm not suppressing it. I just unclicked it. Now you're going to see it open. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put where I had created by. I just had it. Here's file author. There it is. Okay. I'm going to save it. And this helps when people are looking at different types of forms and saying, and especially if you're dispersing them to different people. At one of our sites, we went ahead and, oops, that didn't print. Oh, it printed on the next page. I need to fix that. But it did say it was changed. Not exactly the spot that I wanted it, but it went ahead and printed it. All right. So if I go back in, And one of the things is that you learn a lot from doing your changes. If I go ahead and if I don't want it on report footer, I want it on page footer. Okay, and notice I made the page footer a little bit too big. All right, section expert, I go down to the page. I don't suppress that there. I move my file author there. All I'm doing is changing what the length is, okay? I'm saving that. Print pick ticket. All right, and now it says changed. You can make that smaller so it's not even noticeable. You can change that font. So if you go down here and you highlight that field, and if you want to, you can go right up here and make it smaller, make it smaller, make it smaller, and change whatever format you want. So we'll go ahead and close this one. We'll print it again, and then we'll go to our next form. Okay, notice now it has it changed, okay? All right, so we've gone ahead and we've changed it. I have it in a file, save as. If I go ahead and I move it to my modified ES reports and save it, now I can go ahead and I can take that folder and copy it, as I was showing you before, to all of your other users. Now, quite a few of our customers will go ahead and have that modified EF folder copied over at night to everyone's workstation, or they'll go ahead and every time a person will go ahead, it's a little bat file, it will go through, and every time they turn on their machine, it will go ahead and copy it over. It just depends on how you want to go ahead and disperse those, but that's where you should save all of your modified reports. And that way everybody knows where all the modified reports are. So when you have, when someone gets a new workstation and they're going, none of my reports are printing, well, none of my forms, I should say, it's because it has been copied over, okay? So 9 times out of 10, that's the reason. All right, so now let's go ahead and go into the one that I like the best, okay, to modify. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go, this right here is your inventory transaction history report. Now, there is so much junk on this report that most people just wonder, you know, they threw everything but the kitchen sink on this report, all right? So if you notice on the standard report, okay, and I'm just going to do File, Save As, and because I went ahead and modified it earlier today. Oh, I go to the wrong one, all right? Program Files, Exact, Report, Save. All right, what we're going to do is that we're going to pull up this report. And as everybody knows, you can print it both in summary and in detail. All right, I'm going to first do it in detail. And this is test data, so. All right, what drives everybody crackers, okay, is that there's all this wasted white spot, okay, and you see it on every single report and, you know, page. And if you've got a large report, it will drive you crazy, all right. There's also, every time there's a date change, it goes ahead and it prints this post date, print date, and all of that, which is just, to me, a lot of wasted real estate, okay? And even though I can go ahead under my report and I can remove the color and I can, to make it a little bit easier, it's crazy, all right? Even if I print it in summary, because I want to show you the difference, and then you'll be wowed, okay? All right, and I'm going to put it back in color so you can see at least. All right, it's still going ahead and giving you a different date every single time. I should say subheadings. And I think people are smart enough that they don't need that every single time. So the first thing that I do, if you notice up here under File, all right, and if I go to Page Setup, all right, notice right here that the top margin is 0.79. All right, I'm going to change that to 0.25. Okay, all right, because to me, I don't need 3/4 of an inch on every single page. And I can still, have this for, so that's just one change. You'll notice also that on this report, when I ran it, it went ahead, and this is the cool thing about reports versus forms, is that it will tell you on the last page, this is all the criteria. This is the range, this is the date, this is summary or detail. This is all the information. And notice right here, report file. It tells you right there what that report name is. And one of the things that I do like to keep is the legend, because some people don't know what all these transactions mean when they're looking at them. All right, so we're going to go ahead. And the first thing that I do is that I want to move this information. This is the grouping, okay? And the grouping on this, if I go to Report, Group Expert, okay, it's by location, which is fine. I think that's great. But then it's by transaction date and time. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert in Group Header 2, okay? I'm going to go to Group Header 2, Section Expert, and I'm going to insert 2 sections. Now I've got 2 sections here. I'm moving Group Header 3 information up to Group 2. And this is how I do it. You take your Shift key and you highlight. I'm going to highlight these 4. I right-click. I say Copy. I bring it up, and I say Paste. And I always paste where I want the last field that I brought up. That's the key, the last field. And then I can go ahead and I can, I can do it one at a time. Sometimes, I can do it more. And then all I'm doing is putting the information back in line. All right. And notice that here I didn't cut it, I just copied it so I could see where it was lined up. Okay? So, or some people prefer to just bring it up. Okay? So they just bring it up one at a time. Definitely is your clue. Again, I'm going to take the Shift key and I'll highlight this one, right click, and then oh, it took them all. Sorry. That's easy. Just click it. Just bring this up.
Then it'll just be at the header and every single transaction.
It's going to go ahead and it's going to show, exactly. So under the location, it's only going to print this one, you know, and I can have this print, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to have this print on each page so I know what, you know, so I've got a heading on each page, okay? All right, and then on this one right here, all right, I'm going to just keep some, and I'm just going to go ahead and move this up, okay? All right, and here's the post date and time, and here's the customer, and stocked and controlled. Now, if you don't want these headings, if you don't want that information, that's fine. We can suppress it. If you don't have landed costs, you don't even have to have this field. You can suppress it if you want to. So let's say you don't have landed costs and you really don't need this information. You can go ahead, and what I prefer to do when I'm changing something like this, I'll go into Format Field, under Common, and I'll just suppress it. I don't want to get rid of it because I might want to use it later, okay? And right here under Landed Costs, I'm going to right-click it, format it, Common, Suppress. Now I still have it, but I'm not getting rid of it, okay? And I'm going to bring Original Quantity up, all right? And I don't need all this gray stuff. I'm now going to go ahead under my group header, all right, I'm going to suppress. I'm going to suppress group section expert. Under 3, I'm going to suppress these. So I'm not going to see these two. This is all moved up, all right? File, Save As, and I've got this saved in my report. All right, I'm going to do a transaction history report. I'm going to do something a little bit smaller so it doesn't take so long. Okay, and let's just do it from 11/01/14. And we're going to do it in detail. Okay, there we go. To me, this is a lot cleaner. All right, but my headings are missing. Now they're right here, which is fine and dandy, but I might want to go ahead and have something up here at the top. All right, so let's go ahead. And one of the issues that right here under Group Header 2, if you go ahead and you go to the group header and you go to Section Expert. Oh, I apologize, it's under Group Expert, sorry. All right, Group Expert. All right, under Location, what I can go ahead and I can do, Options. Is that I can repeat this header on every page. So what I did is that I went ahead and I went under Options, just to show you again, under Options again, and I checked Report on every page. So now this section will go ahead and print on every page. But one of the things that I don't want is that if I go ahead, and I'm going to save this, all right, so now when I look at this report, now I've got my headings, okay, which I think looks a lot cleaner. All right, but let's say I don't want. All right, now if I still run this report and I do it in summary, because some of my customers prefer it in summary. I don't need this. I don't need this section at all, because all I'm doing is just see how much better this is, how much real estate you change, all right? I don't need this post date and document date information. So this is what you do, okay? Right here, if you look into where it says summary, do you see detail or summary right here? And I want to see what that parameter is. It says, you know, detail or summary, and it says exact summary equals, okay? So I want to suppress if this formula, this is something that, you know, if this is S for summary, and I'm going to, all I'm doing is highlighting this, right-click, and copy. That's all I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I'm utilizing some of the logic that they've already got in the system. I'm going to go into Group Header 2. I'm going to go to Section Expert. I'm going to go ahead, because this is number C, because I've got an A, B, and C section. I'm going to go to my suppress variable, and I'm going to paste. Suppress, this is saying if summary equals S, suppress this section. Okay? I'm going to hit save. Okay, are you guys ready? I want the drum roll, okay? So I go ahead and I run it in summary now. Ta-da! Now I've got a much cleaner report.
I actually thought of that this morning. I was like,
okay?
yeah, that's one thing.
Now, some people will want all this information at the bottom. Some people may not, okay? So it is absolutely up to you if you want to go ahead and keep it. And again, all I would do if you didn't want to keep this, because all I would do is under Report Header here, I'd go to Section Expert, and I could suppress. Okay? So I could suppress the whole shooting match if I wanted to. If I only wanted to keep the legends, the different types of, you know, what this means, then I would just delete each one of these. And this is all the criteria from the formulas. These are all the formula fields that Exact has made. I normally do not change any of these formulas. I will create my own rather than doing any of the logic that they've done, because it all, since it's an embedded report, you don't want to mess with their criteria. Notice also right here, they've got, there's some hidden fields right here. There's an asterisk field right there, and that's for certain when the previous record is not equal, you know, when you're going ahead and saying previous on hand is not what, you know, the current is. You don't want to remove that. That's a good field to have. Okay? All right, and we have 10 minutes to go to the next one. Is there any questions? Okay, we'll go back then. Okay. All right, now, one of the other things that, one of the most popular ones to change also, oh, and here's Save As. I'm going to go ahead and save this under my directory. I'm going to go ahead and save this under my modified reports. Okay, and save that. And then I can always, like you had said, we can always make a change on this. And under summary information, we can go ahead and say when it was modified. Okay? Modified 1/1/5/15. Okay. And we could put, you know, whatever we wanted on that. and then I'm just going to save it under the modified. You would then copy this to your C, Programs Directory, Exact, or PT. Okay? All right, now let's close this. I went ahead and I just added quickly, while we were when I was testing. This is the AR aging statement. And, statements are a big thing for people to go ahead and be very proactive in getting cash flow a lot easier. So under accounts receivable, under your customer statements, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this form. All right. First of all, this form's really ugly again. All right. Unless, of course, you have modified forms that you've bought or something like that. But if not, if you can go ahead, this information is pulled from your company setup, okay? And here's the address, here's the, the remittance, okay? We don't normally want to put the credit line. We don't want to go ahead and put the currency unless you have different currency. And you'll notice that it's a little, even I've got this at 115%, even at 130, that U.S. dollar is right up on that dollar amount. Okay, so to change the statement, all right, I don't want to see right here, and this is when you're looking at this report, okay, here's the invoice amount, okay, and this right here is due date, okay, and they're on top of one another. Can you see that? They're actually on top of one another. So here's the invoice amount, and this right here is your grouping, okay? So if you wanted to add more information, maybe this is, however you want it, if the logo is enough and you want to go ahead and you want to put your own address in here, you can go address or insert, and then you can just go ahead and helps if you spell it right, okay? But if you had another logo that you wanted to put in with all that information, you could. You might want to bold that, all right? And then you could just get rid of this information here. You don't want it all down here. Now, instead of going through each one, you can go under Report Header, under Section, and right here I've got it through F. I can just say delete, 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 okay? And now those are all deleted. These are just empty spaces. There's nothing in those. You can either move them up so that it's going to be a little bit cleaner. All right, and I'm going to do File, Save As. I've got it saved. I'm testing it right now on my C drive, or this is the, all right. And I'm going to close this. All right, I'm going to run the statement again. All right, and notice now we've got more real estate again to go ahead and put that information in. You may not want this much space between, so all I'm doing is just moving this up. That's all I'm doing, all right? I don't want currency, so I'm hitting currency, and I'm just deleting, okay? Now, I hope you can see this. This is the report settings. You don't want to remove that because that's part of the settings. It's hidden. No one's going to see it, okay? So you just, I always just leave it. Do I want to go ahead and see a credit limit? Most likely not, okay? So I'm just hiding that, all right? And here we've got, this is just the code for your payment condition, okay? All right, so then we've got our headings, and then we've got, here's right here under details. Do you see right, this is highlighting. You'll notice that this says currency. And down at the bottom when you're highlighting a field, it will also, and I can't point it to you, but down at the bottom it also shows you what the currency is, the field currency. So I'm just going to delete that. I don't need that currency to show. And then I'm going to save this. All right. All right, so now I have the amount, I have the due date. You could, instead of our reference, your reference, you could go ahead and put invoice number, your PO number, however you want to go ahead and change that. All right, but now you can go ahead and start getting your statements out to customers. This total and total due, this is always a little misleading because this is the total amount that's currently due, and this is the total due that's all the invoices that are outstanding. Most people will get rid of this second one. It will just say total amount due and move that down. But you can do this with any of your forms. So if I don't want that, and I don't want that there, and I just want total to be brought in here, and I want dollar signs, I just highlight my field and I just go up to the top, I add dollars. That's all I'm doing here is adding dollars. And I'll just do it on 2 of them. And statements will help get better your cash flow. So now I've got dollar signs on these 2, not on the other ones because those are the only ones that I showed. Okay? We're right up to our 1 hour. What questions have you got? Was this helpful?
Yes. It was.
Helpful, thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Do we have any additional questions from anybody or anything we can help with?
Karen, I have a question.
All right.
Okay, on the fields, the text fields that start with the @ capital T.
Yes.
Is that just Crystal's way of showing that field, or I mean, because that's
right here, like where it says @date.
No, that's the actual data, the field titles above that T, last statement, date, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's just is that the title of the field, or is that the actual data, or?
That is just a text field, which a formula field that they put in a string which says last statement date. That's
okay,
it.
I got you.
Okay, yeah. And if you just wipe that out, okay,
right,
then all right, then it would be as if you could go ahead and take those out and insert just a text field and put those in. It would have the same effect.
Yeah, I guess what confuses me is it still says @T last statement date, and you always have to like look behind the door to see what it is really going to say.
And what you can see right here, any of the ones that start with T, those are text fields. Think of it that way. That's a text formula field.
Right.
Okay. And why they do that, I don't know, but we can, and sometimes they'll use that same text field to go ahead and be in multiple spots. So this way they don't have to have 2 text fields. They only need 1.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. Then also, aren't there some alignment tools in here somewhere where you can align fields rather than trying to just move them all by your mouse?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. This right here, you can go ahead and you can use your alignment right here. So if all these items are lined up, then you can go ahead and notice I moved them all at once.
Okay, well, I guess what always, I've seen that in Crystal. How do you know that that's applying to just that section? Because you grabbed about 40 of those tab markers.
Right. Anything that is lined up, and what I like to do when I'm doing that is for the guidelines, I like to see it in preview and also, edit, view, guidelines, and InDesign, okay? So,
okay.
So if you do that, you can, and you can tell that there's a whole bunch of them that they had a lot of fun with, okay?
I see.
These guys right here are the only ones that are lined up. So you'll see.
Oh, okay.
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 All right. So, and especially, let's say if you're doing, I'm going to go ahead and unhide it so that we can, guidelines. If I wanted to, let's say, see right here, I've got, when you see the red on this, I don't know if you can see the red, but right there.
Yeah.
All right, if I wanted to line up something, and let's say I wanted to put in address, okay,
Right.
and I wanted to line it up with it, then I would make sure that that's not lined up, but that is. I just had to keep hitting it until it went ahead and lined up. Now I know it's all.
Once it turned red?
Once it turned red.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Okay. So it moved that information over. Okay. And that's really helpful when you're doing Crystal reports and you want to line up certain things together. That makes it really nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just when you see all those tab markers up there.
Oh, I know.
It's too bad you can't say hide the tab markers
that don't pertain to anything. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Karen.
All right. Anything else?
No, thanks.
All right. If you have any questions, just email either Teresa or myself, and we're here to help you guys. Don't struggle. Just don't struggle, okay?
Also, so everyone knows, we are recording these sessions as we do them every other week, and they are available on our website. So if you'd like to watch them again, feel free. They're in the added resources on our website. So this one will be up in the next day or so.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Karen and Teresa.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yep.